they remind us what our 3 steps are. So they had this on our notes yesterday too. Remember, first step is solve for y when necessary. Remember, this means we want it in y equals mx plus b form. Okay? So if it doesn't look like that, that's the first thing we're going to fix. Okay? Once we have it looking like this, we then decide if we want to make it a solid or a dotted line. So remember, we can look here if we're not sure. Solid means I'm going to have that equal to underneath it. Dotted means no equal to. Okay? Then we decide if we want to shade above or below. So less than or equal to is below. Greater than or equal to means to shade above. So we can always reference these 2 steps if we aren't sure. Okay? All right. So let's see here. On number 1, is that in y equals mx plus b form? No. So we got to rearrange first, right? Okay, so what am I going to move? The 3x. Very good. So it's a positive 3x. How do I move it? Good. Very good. So I subtract 3x from both sides. That goes away. So now I've got 2y is greater than, can I put negative 3x and 6 together? No. So we put the part with the x in it first. So I'll have negative 3x plus 6, right? Okay, then what should we do? Very good. I'm going to divide everything by 2. All right. So I have y is greater than, can I actually divide negative 3 by 2 and get a whole number? No. So I'm just going to leave it as a fraction. So I got negative 3 over 2x, and then we got 6 divided by 2. What's that? 3. So I got plus 3. Very good. All right. So now we need to graph it, right? Which number is going to tell me where to start? The positive 3. Very good. So this is where I start out on my y-axis. So I come down here, put myself a point at positive 3. So that means the other number tells us how to move, right? So if it's negative 3 over 2, how are we going to move? Down 3 over 2. Very good. Okay, now before I connect them, now I have to ask myself if my line should be a dotted line or a solid line. Dotted, right? Because there's no equal to. Very good. And then we ask ourselves, should we shade above or below?
Above.
It's above, right? This is a greater than symbol right here. So that's step number 3 that you're matching it to. So greater than symbol means to shade above. And above would be up here, right? So everything up here. All right. Okay, number 2. Is this one in y equals mx plus b form? No. No. So we're going to have to move something. What should we move first? The x. Good. If it's a positive x, how do I move it? Minus. Good. So I minus 1x or subtract 1x from both sides. So those go away. Now I have negative 3y is greater than or equal to. Can we actually subtract x from negative 6? No, they're not the same. So we keep them separate and you put the x first. So negative x and negative 6. All right, what do I need to do now? Good. So I divide everything by negative 3. Yes, very good. Okay. All right. So these are going to divide out, right? And I'll just have y. Does anybody remember when we talked about inequalities earlier in the year, what happens when we divide by a negative or multiply by a negative? No. What happens to this inequality sign? It flips, right. Very good. So whenever you divide by a negative, it flips, which is what happened here. So now instead of facing this direction, it faces the other way, and it still has that equal to sign with it. Okay, can I actually divide x by 3? No. But what's the secret number that's in there? A 1. Very good. So I have -1 divided by -3. You're right. Can't give me a whole number. But two negatives do make a right. So I'll have positive 1/3 x. And what's -6 divided by -3? Very good. All right. So now we're ready to go. Which number tells me where to start? A 2. Right. So I can put myself a point at 2. And then how much up and over am I going to move to get from one point to the next? Good. All right. So now I'm going to decide if I should have a dotted line or a solid line. What do we think? Solid, because it has the equal to. We do want a solid line. Very good. Okay. All right. Then I have to decide where I'm going to shade, right? Above or below? Where? Below. Very good. That's a less than symbol. So I'm going to shade everything below that line. Very good. All right. So this one was solid and below. And this one, the first one we did was dotted and above, right? Okay. Okay. So let's look at example number 3. All right, so on number 3, do I need to rearrange anything? No. All right, the y is already by itself, so we're good. Now, they did not tell me that I had a slope this time, right? There's no x in there. So I just need to go to where y is, what number? 3. Good. I'm going to give myself a point there. If I go up, am I still at 3? If I go up here, I'm still at 3? If I go down, am I still at 3? No. But if I go over here, am I still at y equals 3? Yeah, so I can go left and right. I just can't go up and down. So I'm going to be drawing a horizontal line, right? Is it going to be a dotted line or a solid line? Dotted, very good. So I'm going to draw a dotted line. Okay, and it's where y is greater than, so the way this is facing, am I going to shade above or below? It says greater than, so we shade, yes, above. All right, so this one was dotted, and we shaded above. Good. All right. Last one on the front page here. This time, it has x and a number, right? Okay, so I need to go to where x is what number? -4. So that's on this line. I come over here to -4, and I'm going to put myself a point. If I keep going to the left, am I still at -4? If I go to the right, am I still going to be at -4? So I can't go left and right. I can only go up and down. Very good. Okay, this time, is it going to be a dotted or solid line? Very good. So a solid line running up and down through that point. Okay, and it says to shade where? What does that symbol say? Below. Okay, so this one's kind of funny because it's an up and down line, right? So when we think below, that's where things are smaller, right? So the things get smaller when I go to the left or to the right? To the left, so that's where I'm going to shade. All right. Okay, if you will flip it over onto the back, we just got 2 more to look at. Okay, so number 5 says, which of the following points would be a solution to the inequality? So remember, we talked about this yesterday. To be a solution, it needs to be inside of our shaded area, right? Okay, so I need to graph it first, but is it ready to be graphed the way it's written right now? No, because we want it in y equals mx plus b form, right? So I need the y to get over there by itself. So what could we do here? What would we do? Somebody said something about the y. we need to move it to the other side, right? If it's a negative y, how can I move it to the other side? Positive, okay? So we'll do that first. All right. Can I actually add y and negative 2? No. So I'm going to put the y first, and then my negative 2 is less than 3x. Okay, is the y by itself yet? No. So we still got one more thing we got to do. What should we do now? Add the 2. Good. All right, so we got y is less than. Can I actually add 3x and 2? Nope. So we put the x first, and then the 2. All right, so now is it ready? Okay, so which number tells me where to start? The 2, good. So I come over here, put a point at 2, and my slope tells me we're going to go where for the next point? Up 3 and over 1, very good. Okay, all right, so I have all my points drawn. Am I going to have a dotted or a solid line? Dotted, very good. Okay, so we're going to have a dotted line. Okay, and with the way my inequality faces, are we shading above or below? Below, right? Again, if we're not sure, just flip it back over to the front page and it has it there for you, okay? All right, so we shaded below. Okay, now we just need to pick which one of these coordinate points, or maybe points, maybe there's more than one, that falls in our shaded area, okay? So, negative 2, 0, that'll be right here. That's my point A. Is that where it needs to be? No. Okay, so not that one. Then we've got the point 4, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. Here's my point B. Is it in the shaded area? Okay, so that's one of our answers. Let's see if there's any more. Negative 6, negative 2. Nope. Okay. What about positive 8, positive 3? Okay. And then the last one is at 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's right on the line. Okay. So this one's tricky because it's on the line. But is my line open or a closed line? Open. So is it going to be included? No. Yes, if it was a solid line, then we would include it. Yes. All right. Okay, last one. Says to write an inequality to describe this graph. So this time it's already graphed. We're going to write the equation. Okay? So remember, we want it in y equals mx plus b form, right? So I'm going to have y. I'm not going to use an equal sign because we're going to want an inequality, right? Okay. First of all, did they shade above or below the line? Above. So that means I want my inequality this way, right? Is it a dotted or solid line? So do I want to put the equal to? Yes. Okay. Now I just need the slope and the y-intercept, right? Okay. So we said that it was solid. So we put b equal to with it. They shaded above. So we knew we wanted it to open this way. Now I just need my M and my B. Okay, first, where did this thing start at? Where does it start?
4.
Right there at 4, right? Okay, so my B is 4. Okay, if I'm looking at that point, the next time we see a point right on top of a square corner would be right here, right? How do I have to move, or how many do we move up and over to get there?
Up to
Very good. So that must be my slope, right? So then I just plug that into our equation. So y is greater than or equal to m, which is good, x, plus b, which is